Welcome to Nolly Recaps.
Mr. Benny Esiam is a substitute teacher for 200 Level C at Golden Beam International. In his first class, he gets to know his students by handing them their test sheets from previous term's exams he was privileged to have marked. He quickly took note of Kylie Coleman by her outstanding scores. Mr. Benny advised his students to take their studies serious if they want to pass their examinations. Mr. Benny is home with his pregnant wife Camilla, briefing her on his first day with his students as he makes breakfast. Later, he takes her to work, relinquishing the moments with her, quite excited about their expected child. Benny also double-checks with her to confirm she has her inhaler. Benny obviously loves his wife dearly. The next class was interactive. Kylie displayed quite an intelligence and bank of knowledge in the argument about faith and morality in philosophy. Mr. Benny compliments Kylie for her smartness and teased her about her ideological views on philosophy. Kylie agrees that philosophy is her favorite subject, then quickly adds Mr. Benny is also becoming her most favorite teacher. He thanked her, then goes ahead to give her a harmless compliment about her beauty, confidence, and brains. She was quite pleased with the compliments. When Kylie got back from school, she checked him up on Facebook, looked at his bio smiling, but became enraged upon sighting his wife's pictures. The next day after school, she ran up to him, but he was rushing to see his wife in the hospital, so she had to make it quick. She said she didn't understand a question in the assignment and needed him to explain further. Benny suggested she meet any of the other assistant teachers that could help her, but she insists she wanted Benny, so he promised to help her some other time while he rushed to see his wife. The following day, Mr. Benny had an unexpected test for the students. During the course of the test, Kylie started hallucinating about Mr. Benny calling her forward to come collect some grapes in a seductive manner. As she was standing up to go meet him, Mr. Benny started calling her and she realized that she was hallucinating, and it was hilarious. During break, Kylie went to see Mr. Benny and apologized for her behavior during the test. Then she asked him out to lunch as a gesture to express her apology for her misbehavior in class. He kindly declined because his wife had just bought him lunch. This devastated Kylie. Back home, Kylie's mother confronted her about the decline in her academics. Kylie suggested a lesson tutor will solve the problem. Mr. Benny and his wife went shopping. He tells her about Kylie, his students, who needs extra lessons to help her boost her grades. His wife strongly objects. She thinks it's not a wise decision, but he insists that the extra pay will do the family good, especially with the unborn baby. At last, Benny went to Kylie's house for the lessons. Kylie is dressed in quite a seductive way and was distracted during the lessons. Mr. Benny took notice, and when he inquired about what the problem was, she cooked a story about how she was in love with a boy and wasn't sure if he feels the same way. Mr. Benny told her she's a smart and intelligent girl. She should just do her thing. He is sure the boy will come around. After all, there is no guy that wouldn't want her in the whole world. The lessons continued for a while. Then one day during lessons, he asked her for a restroom to ease himself. She pointed at the door. Unknown to her, she pointed at a wrong door. Mr. Benny opened the door and saw the stairs leading down. On getting there, he realized it wasn't a bathroom, but an empty room which was filled with pictures of him hanged on a rope held with a clip and some of him and his wife, but his wife's face was cut out. As he turned back, there she was looking possessed. She begins to profess her feelings for him. Mr. Benny immediately packed his stuffs and ran out of the house without turning back. The next day at school, a new substitute teacher came in replacement of Mr. Benny. He explains that Mr. Benny had some domestic work to take care of. Kylie immediately walked out of the class. Benny was massaging his wife's feet when his phone rang. He told his wife to answer the call. It was Kylie. She spoke to the wife about Mr. Benny being over an hour late for the lessons. She said she had tests next Monday. She needed him to study with her. Still, Mr. Benny refused to answer, so she devised a plan. She waited for him to leave, then headed to his house, and when she pressed the doorbell, Benny's wife opened the door. Benny returned home to meet his house scattered. As his wife was trying to explain what had happened, he picked up his phone and saw a picture of his wife's inhaler. He asked her where her inhaler was, and before she brought it out, he entered his car and drove away. He went to Kyle's house, banging at the door. He strangles Kyle, asking her what she wanted from him. "I love you," Kyle tells Benny. He explained to her he has a wife and an unborn baby he has been expecting for 6 years. It turns out Kyle was jealous of how he loved his wife, and she wanted that kind of love because when she was much younger, her father told her he doesn't love her and her mother anymore and abandoned them ever since. She hasn't felt loved. Kyle made sure he felt pity for her, using her emotions to lure Mr. Benny into having sex with her. By the time he got home, he was sorry for what happened. He hated himself the more when he saw his wife sleeping. After the unfortunate incident, Kyle called Benny in the evening. Camilla was about sleeping, and Kyle wants Benny to come have dinner with her. He told her to forget about him and move on with her life. He wants to focus on his family. Then Kyle said he shouldn't worry, that she would take his wife out of the way. Aggrieved, Mr. Benny told her to never call him again, and he never wanted to see her again. When his wife woke up, he had to lie that it was a teacher, and told her not to open the door for any student again. Mr. Benny had stepped out of the house when Kyle came to his house and gave some excuse about needing Benny to sign some papers. So his wife allowed her in, then offered Kyle a drink. Kyle insists Camilla joins her. Camilla got a glass for herself while they chat and as they both drank. Kyle eventually poisoned the drink, took away her inhaler, and watched her struggle for breath and left unconscious. Benny got home and met Kyle on his chair, wearing his shirt. He asked where his wife was. Kyle lied that Camilla went to see a doctor. In annoyance, he sent her out of his house, then sat to watch TV and found his wife's inhaler on the floor at the edge of his chair. He decided to call her phone, and he realized that her phone was at home. He followed the sound of her phone ringing and found his wife's body unconscious in the kitchen cupboard. The doctor informed Benny that unfortunately he could only save his wife's life but lost the baby. The doctor asked if he knew who was responsible for this. No, he lied. Camilla was asleep when Benny came in, truly sorry for all she had gone through, and now they had lost their baby. Out of annoyance, he called Kyle and threatens to kill her for luring him to have sex with her, then attempting to take his wife and killing his child. At the mall, Kyle senses she was being followed. Fear gripped her, so she hurriedly bought a bag and dashed into her car. Someone from behind her seat used a polythene bag and choked her to death. The next day, when Benny was taking his bath, his doorbell rang. It was the police. Benny was arrested for the murder of Kyle, but he was actually innocent. Camilla had sneaked out of her hospital bed and carried out the act without anyone noticing.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notification so you can watch more videos like this.